Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to HitScan. So some pretty interesting news not related to the new Agent Fade has come out today, and that the next patch, in the next act no doubt, will have a pretty meaty Jett nerf to it. So let's talk about what it is and my concern / problem with the nerf overall. So for those that just want the meaty information, it's a nerf to Tailwind. On pressing the ability key, after a short delay, Jett activates a 12-second window in which she is empowered to immediately dash on the next button press. Her Tailwind charge is lost whether she dashes or that window expires, but can still be regained with 2 kills. This effectively works the same way as a Yoru teleport, right? Where you put it down and you have a certain amount of window to teleport or fake teleport. It's now the same for Jett. You don't get to instantly dash away. Instead, you set yourself up in a period where you can dash out. Immediately in the comments, let me know what you think. For me, on the face of it, it sounds really good, but there was something that concerned me. But I do want to talk about what the devs said about it first. They said that the dash had no prerequisite. Jett always had access to her escape power with no intentional decision making. The freedom gave Jett the unintended capacity to continually take space or hold unusual ground without having to commit her ability. Most especially with Dior. This play pattern is something that no other agent could match and allows Jett to exert an extreme amount of pressure on a match in a way that can be oppressive, especially at high MMRs in a professional play. The lack of intentional decision making made it feel like she played outside of the tactical cycle all our other agents adhere to. Too often she didn't have to leverage game sense that other agents needed to succeed, because her reactive dash could often negate her own strategic mistakes or the great tactical calls by her opponent. As we talked about it in Controller Deep Dive, our core design philosophy is that agents are sharp and provide both clear upsides and opportunity costs when compared to their peers. Jett's strong at both being a dashing executor on attack or holding angles with an op on defense, with that unrestricted access to escape, provided her broad power with little downsides. We want her to retain as much aggressive power on offense as possible, but reduce her defensive op power. Even in highly coordinated play, she's very difficult to strategize against. And her utility, her dash for an instant escape, the smokes, really made it so the rest of the agents have to deal with her and not able to trade out. Okay, so the article's actually just come out at the time of recording, so it's a bit of an awkward update, but there's some really interesting stuff about Sova in here as well. It goes over the approach, which is effectively that Jett breaks competitive integrity in tactical cycles, which we kind of knew already, but this is the interesting part. So the whole thing about nerfing Jett means that there's more diversity and alternatives for duelist players like Phoenix, Raze, Reyna. Those kind of agents can certainly go up in pick rate, but sometimes it makes it hard to balance other agents. For example, we were concerned about a Sova nerf before we shipped 4.08, which is the next patch with Fade coming in too. Since that utility is a key piece on how many of you deal with Jett in coordinated play, we found it necessary instead to update Jett's dash ability to avoid reworking the entire game around her. There's no other information on the Sova nerf, but I have to imagine if it's in coordinated play and dealing with a Jett, it's the Outrun. I can imagine that maybe that's a lot slower, maybe the ability's just a lot worse in some capacity, because Outrun is one of the better abilities in the game for sure. I don't want them to up the price. I don't think they're going to do that because it's already pretty expensive. But it is interesting to see that there are quite a few changes coming into here. Bear in mind, you've got Fade that's coming in. She's an initiator. We kind of know about her abilities already, but there's going to be another video that you definitely want to watch later this week, going over that a bit more. So yeah, it's not only Jett that's getting the kick here. Sova's actually getting nerfed too. I got to imagine it's to the Eldron, because Recon Dart, Shock Dart, Ultimate, that's not really used to counter a Jett specifically. Certainly not in comparison to what the Eldron can do. There's a lot more in the article, but go read it. I just wanted to highlight the main stuff. But I do want to talk about my concern, and it's a simple one. It's the fact that Chamber seems to be really kicking ass in the game right now. Now, there could be an instance, for example, where in the new patch, Chamber is nerfed in some capacity, as well as, meaning that both Chamber and Jett are worse at that holding an angle with an operator and then being able to teleport out instantly. But also, the devs were very clear on saying that they want to keep Jett's aggressive nature on attack, being able to dash in onto a site as an entry, for example. That is something that Jett's still able to do. There is a caveat to that, I'll get to it. But on defense, yeah, you have to be a lot more mindful about activating your dash ability for the 12-second window before peeking out with an operator. And if the enemy team are good, they're going to wait out that timer, hopefully, try and work out when it is, and then punish you once that window goes down. So I'm interested to see less Jett oppression with the operator, but I think that just opens up a window for Chamber. Chamber is exceptional at the highest tier, being able to hold angles with the operator and teleport out. But because he isn't a great entry, because he's a sentinel, it means that Jett still has that over him, right? There's pros and cons to both sides. It basically means that Jett is the better opper, maybe on attack, and Chamber is the better upper and defensive option on defense, which is a Sentinel he kind of should be. It is still a bit concerning. I think we're going to go through a period where everybody's going to say that Jett is trashed here. She's going to feel clunky for a lot of people. I don't really play her, so it doesn't bother me all that much. But I do think we're going to see Jett's pick rate just drop off. But I do think that impacts Killjoy, Cypher, those other like Sentinel options who I guess could use a bit of love right now. They're still great, but I do think the Chamber is just going to absolutely own the game. And if you're not playing with one, you're kind of throwing. I am excited to see more diversity in the options of duelists. Maybe we see a little bit more Phoenix and Raze and Reyna, for example, at the highest levels. But I do think that it stifles Sentinel roles by effectively making Chamber a must pick. So the concern is that Jett was already having good competition with Chamber. Now it effectively makes Chamber much, much better in one capacity. But that is enough for Chamber's pick rate to skyrocket, and Jett's much more interesting and diverse with the duelist options, but it kind of screws over another role and section of the game, if that makes sense. But honestly, we could see a lot of changes to the Sentinels in this next patch with Fade. You never know, especially with an agent that is as potent as Fade from the sounds of it. I imagine there's going to be a few agent changes to compensate for her addition. But let me know what you think. I did want to keep this relatively straightforward, give you the news, give you my opinion, and go from there. But thanks for watching, take care. There'll be a video on Fade sometime soon, going over her abilities and other stuff that you might want to know. But yeah, thanks for watching, take care, see you then.